Hey guys, how's it going? It's your boy MKS here, back with another video. Hope you're well wherever you are. And as I mentioned on my Facebook Live and on my Facebook account, it's my mum's birthday today, so please send some nice messages for my mum. Although she doesn't actually watch my videos, but I can probably pass them on to whoever you like if you want me to send any messages to my mum for her birthday. Obviously, she's amazing because she had me, so and I'm very perfect and modest. I'm just kidding, of course. But yeah, if you do send those nice comments, it'd be greatly appreciated, I'm sure. And I welcome your comments, especially positive ones, even constructive feedback, as I often say, but obviously you can post what you want. I don't delete any messages or anything like that. Anyway, I'm going to try and stop waffling and get on with the subject at hand. I'm actually a bit late for walking the dog, but I thought I'd just upload this video while I have the opportunity. And here goes. Yeah, so this is obviously part two of who I would love to invest in Napoli, shall we say, to put it simply. And so please check out part one if you haven't done so. I hope to make like parts 2, 3. Obviously this is part 2, and also part 3 and possibly 4 even, to make 40-point lists, as I'm 40, unfortunately. So anyway, here goes. So number 11, I would love to change the perception of Napoli. Maybe investors could come in and invest in the area, like apparently the investors in Man City and probably now the investors in Newcastle are already, and the investors in Man City have done so already, and even the investors in Leicester invested in like local hospitals and things like that. Unfortunately, he passed before he died in a helicopter crash, unfortunately, but they were investing in the local community, and Man City, I think, still invest in the local community, and I'm sure Newcastle owners will. So yeah, it would be good to see. Although I only support Italy for football, maybe they could change the perception and get people, like, discourage crime and criminality for football. Like, so rewards for good behaviour if you're a young lad is to get into football. Like, if you don't get in trouble in school, if you don't break the law, if you don't do anything bad, you get to play football more, and it can give opportunities for youth. So maybe it could change the perception of Napoli from being like crime-ridden or whatever they call it to becoming known for its football more than anything else, perhaps. Number 12, again, I think it'd be great if they did a lot of good causes and helped as many people as possible, as I often say. Number 13, I hope these videos aren't too cringe-worthy and my ideas aren't too out there. Maybe they are, but I think it's worth still giving it a go. Number 14, again, it would be great, I think, if they solve problems facing the local community and also disadvantaged communities and that kind of thing. And again, cut crime and be known for football rather than anything negative, perhaps. Although obviously not everyone's into football. Some people might even think football's negative itself, but maybe they could do like football for good. So changing the perception of football and working with FIFA, UEFA, and other such football bodies, charities, and NGOs to change the perception of football, like football for good. Number 15, I think it would be great. I think I forgot to say in part 1. I think it would be great if Netflix invested in Napoli. Again, it might be a pipe dream or naive idea, even, or both from me, but I thought, sticking to the subject of alliterations that I was talking about in my first video, or in part 1, basically, I think that would be pretty cool. Number 16, I think it'd be great if they have a committee or think tank, brainstorm, network, whatever you want to call it, that would look into how to best benefit Napoli. Number 17, again, as I mentioned in my Facebook video for this, in part 1, Mark Goldbridge, I think he should pay me commission for mentioning his channel, but on a serious note, he was saying about, I know I take football a bit too serious perhaps, but he was saying about like how it's not good that people bought Man City because it's like they just saw this team that they could just buy, so it could have been any team and then just transformed it into a winning team. So it's not really natural or organic or whatever you want to call it. But I think he was a bit hypocritical, if I'm honest, because he was saying like Elon Musk made a tweet joking about buying Man United, and as a United fan, he said it'd be cool if he did, and it's better than his space missions and things like that, going to the moon and things like that. And he had a poll, which was not going to be very biased, obviously, because it was based on mostly Man United fans, asking whether, not very scientific or fair, I suppose, as a poll, asking whether they think it's more important that he goes to space and does all these things in space and the moon and whatever else, compared to investing in Man United. So anyway, dare I say, I think he was a bit hypocritical there. If he ever stumbles across this video, I hope he forgives me for saying that, but that's my opinion anyway. But yeah, I don't want to be too hypocritical. I know I think everyone's probably a little bit hypocritical sometimes, including myself, but I think that I don't want to be too hypocritical and say on one hand, teams being owned by wealthy owners is bad, and then if they invest in Italian teams or Celtic, then I say, oh, it's good because it's a team I love, which I love all the Italian teams and Celtic. But yeah, I think it'd be interesting. The point I actually was going to raise is that I think it'd be interesting if people just saw Napoli and said, oh, they look like a good investment opportunity. They're passionate fans and they like to see their team do better. And with the right investment, just like with Newcastle and other teams, they're like sleeping giants, perhaps, they could do really well. And maybe they could buy the owners could buy, or sponsors could help to invest in like the next Maradona and players like that, bringing them to the club. So I hope they'll get the best possible players. But yeah, I think it'd be quite interesting, like, to imagine if that happened. Number 18, again, I hope to change the perception of Napoli to become like known for football. A return for good behaviour, you get to play football. While like if you stay out of trouble in school, teachers allow you to play more football, at least an hour a day, and you get rewarded by the community, and you get to go and play. Like, they encourage people. It would be cool if they encourage more local Napolitans, how we pronounce it, to go in to play football more often. And again, it'd be cool if they're part of football for good. Number 19, as I often say, sorry for repeating myself, I know I do have these patterns, but it'd be cool if they helped Indigenous Africans and Australasians to get into, like, Aboriginal tourism, Pacific Islanders and Maoris, to get into software development, like to help them to train and just train them generally. And number 20, I often say STEM, also helping them in STEM, but I also want to add, like, it'd be cool if local communities invested into like local businesses and the council and government and whatever, local politicians invest in, like, as they get encouraging people to play football more and cutting crime and corruption. And it'd be pretty cool, as if they change the perception of Napoli to be known as a football loving place, which has very little crime, as little as possible, and they cut that through football. Again, having it as a reward for good behaviour, and also they did a lot of football for good and things like that, so they would be known in many positive ways. And also, if they cut corruption and other crimes, corruption in football and crimes generally through football, I think that'd be pretty cool. Again, if they work with FIFA, because FIFA is another organisation that needs to change their perception. Maybe even UEFA. I'm not sure about UEFA, but FIFA needs to change their perception. So maybe they could, like, have things that working with Napoli that cut corruption and things like that. Anyway, I'm going to try and stop waffling, and I think I covered everything I wanted to cover. So I'd love to hear what you think, as ever, and I am out. Picking up.